Okay guys, you requested a yin video and you wanted some poses that were different from what were in the other previous videos I had made. Make sure you have your straps, maybe a kneeling pad if you're on a harder surface or sensitive sitting bones when you're sitting or kneeling, something under your elbows. You can have several of them. If you don't have a kneeling pad, these are really easy to get from gardening stores or even Target. No affiliation with Target. Some straps, you might want one or two, blocks also. So if you're going to use your tool, they're so handy in so many ways to assist in your yin practice. Okay, without further ado, let's get started. So let's stand in good posture with your feet together in mountain pose, arms at your side, shoulders drawing back, navel drawing in and up, trying to press your sitting bones down, broadening across your collarbones, engaging your upper back, drawing in and up with that belly. Outer thighs engaging, inner thighs, arms at your side. Deep breath through the nostrils, inhale up, and exhale down. Ujjayi breathing, inhale all the way up, and exhale down. One more, inhale all the way up. Lace your fingers, press up, look into those hands. Exhale, cactus. And bring your hands back down. Separate your feet hip distance. Swirl around a little bit. Move from side to side. Inhale back to center and sweep up. And sweep back. And as you're doing this, just begin to feel yourself moving through. So you're bending a little bit more each time. You're hinging at your hips. You're opening your chest. You're exhaling the fold. You're inhaling the lift. Come at your own pace. Let's do a couple more. When you're ready, back to the sky, hold. Open up to a spinal twist to your right side. And when you're doing spinal twist, arms equal, shoulders broaden. Inhale back up to sky. Take a namaste hand in the center. Big breath, inhale all the way up. Let's exhale over to that left side. Look around to that back hand. Shoulders, hands, equal distance from the floor. Back to center from your core muscles. Cactus out this time and open up. Drawing your belly in, lifting up through your chest, opening out. Inhale back up to sky. Exhale, mountain. Bring your feet as wide as the whole mat. Swirl back and forth. And then inhale to sky, reach up. Exhale, spinal twist right again, and this time dropping that right hand, lifting up that left hand to the sky, taking that baby back bend, maybe going further back down your legs. Inhale back up, exhale, center, and namaste. Big breath to the sky again. Exhale, over to that left side this time. Drop that left hand down, lift the right arm up, looking up and into that top arm. Maybe taking a bigger back bend, letting the hand go down that leg even further. Inhale back up to sky, reach back in. Exhale, cactus, and down to your mountain arms. Inhale to sky again, reach up. Exhale, bend at your hips. Hip hinge, rock it out, back and forth. Tail wagging, Kanja Asana. Bringing your hands down to the mat, still tail wagging, maybe straightening the legs. Opening up Ardha. You're looking forward, halfway up with the eyes. Exhale, folding, maybe grabbing those elbows and swaying back and forth. Ragdoll style, bending your knees a little. You can straighten them, but don't lock them. Release those hands down and look forward. And then from here, neutral lift up your right hand to the sky in a twist, trying to make that top arm, bottom arm, out on a long vertical plane. Exhale it back down. You could always have your hand on a block, so like so, or even on two blocks if you need to. You can soften your knees. So block or no block. Lifting all the way up, trying to make that vertical line, not putting too much weight on that bottom hand. Exhale, both hands down. Walk out to the right side. And then maybe letting your chest come into that right leg. Reaching out, lengthening spine, little baby twist. Come back to the center, eyes halfway up. And let's do the same thing on the other side, reaching out, maybe making your head come toward that leg, long deep breaths. Always breathing through your practice. You can always come back to the breath. You can always come out of a pose. Come back to center, eyes look halfway up. Exhale, plant your hands, stepping back to a downward facing dog. Your feet in down dog, hip distance apart. Your heels do not have to touch the mat. You're gonna work your chest down. Your back opens, broadens across. It lengthens your spine from your crown of your head to your sitting bones. Your sitting bones are the highest peak. You're hinging at your hips. Your arms are strong. Your arms are engaged and hugging in. Your fingers are spread wide like starfish, about shoulder width, feet hip distance. We use down dog as a connection pose quite often in yin and in vinyasa and in the yang poses. It's a nice transition pose. Let's bend the knees and start to tread it out. And at any point that you feel like you need to wiggle some cramp out or move through this in a different way or come out, you can. Heels come back down toward the mat. And then lengthen and look forward. And we're going to come into a plank. And when you come into a plank, chest is forward, shoulders stay strong, belly's drawn in, hips come down, and maybe even lowering just a little bit with your hips, then back up and back into your down dog. And let's try that again. Let's come to your planks. You can always drop your knees here. You can drop your knees to the mat if you need to. Belly draws it. Thighs are working hard. You can bring your butt a little higher if you need to. Absolutely. Holding that. Now drop the knees. Press the toes back. Come back into a child's pose. And you're working your hips back in toward your heels. Deep breath here. Lift up. Come into your tabletop. And let's do knees at hip distance. Hands at shoulder width. Round into your cat back. Vajrayasana with the cow. Working cats and cows. Lengthening your spine. Cat back. And reversing, working all of three major curves of your spine, trying to keep that spine lubricated, that spine mobile, using the muscles surrounding the spine and all the attachments, keeping them really working together, teamwork. All right, come back to your tabletop, lift up that right arm to the sky. Slide it under and to thread the needle for a moment. We're going to do an active thread the needle. Cupcake your left hand. Open up your left arm. Broaden across your collarbones. Take another breath here. If this is too much for head or shoulder, you could put your kneeling pad or even your block if you need to, if you're super tight there, underneath for support. So that's always an option. All right, we're going to come back up. So come back up from your thread to your tabletop. Lift up your left arm to the sky. Same thing. You can use your tools. Come underneath. Active. Thread the needle. So we're going to cupcake that outer right hand as the left arm goes underneath. And you're drawing your navel in. You're opening up your side waist and trying to take some pressure off, any pressure off the neck. And breathing deep. And then working your way back, bringing your hands to protect that neck, and coming back up to your tabletop. Now let's walk the knees back a little bit and rock it forward and back and forward and back. And this is always a good one if you're having any kind of tightness in the low back, cramping across the low back. This is a good little rocking position. And then let's come forward and down onto the mat, chest down, hands by the side of your chest. Pull your elbows back and lift up your low cobra. Toes are flat and back. Exhale down. So I want your toes really flat. So 9 times out of 10, if you're cramping up, your feet are going to try to move and do these little tucked toes. I want your toes flat now. I want you to work on that. Even if you need to wiggle them out. Let's try again. A few more cobras. So maybe a little lower cobra, maybe a little higher cobra, but not all the way to your highest. Let's stay with low or mid cobras. A few more. You can go slower or hold longer if you want. One more. And deepen your breath and come back down. Bring your left hand under your chin. Bring back your right foot into your buttocks and give me a quad stretch here. Big breath. And we're gonna try a little tricky move here. Tuck your left toe, push to your side. Come to your side lying. This is couch position, laying on your side. Pull your heel even deeper into your buttocks, and you're in side lying, heel to butt. And then let's just take it another pose. Let's bring your knee in toward your chest, hug knee. Maybe turn your head to look up toward that knee, up toward the sky, looking up. And then exhale that leg down. Stretch both arms overhead, and then come down into Sphinx. Forearm position, shoulders broad, eyes look forward, head, navel in, head up, looking forward. So your gaze is directly forward, shoulders back. And then press it back down again. Put the right hand under the chin and bring the left foot back. Same thing that we did on the other side. So you're just pulling your quad to stretch and your hip flexor to stretch. So deeply drawing that stretch. A couple more breaths in this stretch. Then once you get to that stretch, you can move your way onto your side. Stretching your arm out, and you're pulling that heel toward the butt. So you're getting more of a side lying couch pose with a heel quad stretch, heel to your bottom. And let's vary this a little bit as we did on the other side. We're going to pull that knee in toward the chest, hug it in, maybe look up, maybe stretch that neck a little bit more. So we're just slowly trying to warm all the parts of your body, and then bring it back down, come down onto your belly, and let's flutter kick. So move those feet, maybe wriggle on your mat a little bit. Legs are straight, toes are pointed, so they're half flexed, half pointed. Hands can be under your chin. You could put a block under if you go, oh, I need a block under that head. If you have tension in your neck, if you're looking at a screen all day, that might be the case. I want you to keep your buttocks engaged, your legs strong. So you're gonna feel those legs fire up. You're gonna feel your buttocks work. You're not putting tension on your low back. And you're trying to keep your legs straight, working that heat, that warm up. Now lay the legs down, hands underneath chin, windshield wipe. So bend the knees, swipe to side, swipe, swipe. As we windshield wipe, you're moving your hip up on each side a little bit. You're really taking that body into a little bit of a twist on each side as you windshield wipe across. And maybe swirl those legs around a big circle, churning, and then circle them the other way. And then tuck your toes, press them down, hands back by side to chest, lift up, find your tabletop. Press all the way back to a child's pose. Lengthen spine, navel in, look toward fingertips, elongate. Take a breath, inhale, exhale, and push all the way up. Tuck your toes again, push up into downward facing dog. As you push into down dog, lengthen again and pull the chest down a little bit more. Maybe you're feeling at this point you can draw the heels down a little bit more. Maybe that the back of the hamstrings have warmed up a little bit more. Let's just do a really simple little maneuver here. Right knee bends, tuck the heel toward the buttocks, and then we're going to send it behind your left leg. Bend that heel towards your buttocks again, pull it into center, square your hips and set down a down dog. And if you need in between here to come onto your knees or rest, or if you're feeling too much wrist, I want you to pull up and away from those hands. And let's do a simple move here. Bending heel in toward the buttocks on that left side, guiding it behind, send that foot down. Just squeeze your inner thighs, really squeeze your inner thighs and feel this. And then bring the knee back, just a little extra stretch here, press, and then foot down. Look forward, and in Yin we do things a little more gentle, not as much into the jumping and the impact. So we're gonna walk it, feet walk up to the hands, or in the middle of your mat, roll it up. Shoulders roll up, back and down, hip distance feet, up, back and down, swirl. Take a deep breath, inhale to sky, reach up, lace fingers, pointer fingers up, lean to your left side, lengthen, look up, come up, Lean to your right side, so you're doing that lateral stretch. Maybe looking up. Come back into center. Exhale, hands down. Bring your hands around to namaste. All right, let's step our foot out to Prasarita. We're going to grab our strap also at the same time, stepping it out and come to your Prasarita pose. In Prasarita pose, you want your toes facing the long edges of your mat. So even if you have your foot slightly turned out, like so, you would be plie foot. So in Prasarita foot, for some people, it's really difficult at first until we really work on it. Your inner and outer ankles are working like mad. So they're squeezing in, your inner thighs are squeezing your outer thighs. It's a great pose for leg strength, and it's a great base pose. All right, so we're gonna use our strap. We're gonna make our strap wide, and we're gonna make it taut. So we don't want any lax in the strap, and we don't want the strap so tight that when we move around, if you have any shoulder issues, it's going to bother your rotator cuff. So make it wide and taut, and lift it up and test it out up over your head. Now we're going to lean to the right side, keeping strap taut, and coming back up. Lean to left side. So we're just really working through our ranges of motion. And coming up, leaning to your right side, and coming up, leaning to your left side, and coming up, and hold, and exhale and bring it down. Now, if you're not used to doing a lot of the yin movements with the upper arms, the arms and shoulders in general, inhale, sky. You might want to rest in between, come out of it. If anything doesn't feel right, we're going to move through the spool and spindle, so our rib cage. Twist to your right, so your rib cage becomes the muscle groups, your obliques, your core muscles to twist. Then come back to center. You're not twisting by thrusting your shoulders. You're twisting from the core. Twist to the left. Twist to the left from the core. Arms are stable, shoulders are safe. And strap stays overhead, taut. So it's helping stabilize where your shoulders are in the joint. Come back to center. And let's go right again. So at any point, as I said, that you need to take them down, you can take them down. And come back to center. Let's go to left. And come back to center. Exhale and bring those hands down. Roll the shoulders around a little bit. We're going to do some more. So at any point, you could stop and just do regular spinal twists or choose something else. But this is really good for the upper arms and the core. Inhale all the way up. Twist over to that right side. We're going to add a little bit of movement here. We're going to add a back bend with it. So a tiny back bend, taking your right hand on that right side down, and you're looking up to your left hand, deep breaths. As much as you want to bend, as long as you're not pinching in your low back. Inhale back up, come to center, neutral. You're never whipping that. Go over to the left, and then from there coming down and looking up into your top arm. And then coming back up and coming into center and dropping the hands down. Roll the shoulders for a moment. Good. Inhale, coming back up again. Coming over to that right side. Coming down into that back bend movement again. Coming back up. Coming to center. Moving into the left side. Coming over into that left arm. Looking up. Coming up and back to center. Exhale a little bit behind your head. And then come forward and down. Inhale and exhale back behind your head. Inhale and back down. Inhale up, exhale back behind your head. Inhale and coming down. One more time. Inhale up and exhale back behind your head. And then straight up. Leaning laterally, not back bending, to the right. To the right. And up, leaning laterally to the left. If you're not used to doing these, you will feel your obliques in your side waist. And then back up. Okay, now we're going to come down, roll your shoulders around a little bit, and separate, or divide, I should say, your strap, fold it in two. So now it's in two. And so hold on to the strap as it's half the size, and your hands come straight down from where your shoulder joints are, so they're not in like this, they're not real wide. Bring about where your shoulder joints are. And taut, come up, come down. Tuck the belly and lift the pelvic floor. So draw in and up. Come up and down. Come up, inhaling, and down. Again, come up and down. Last one, come up. We're going to twist over toward that right side with this narrow grip. And then we're going to come to center. We're going to twist over toward the left side. And we're going to come to center. And now we're going to bring the hands halfway at your shoulder height. And we're going to push forward. Don't go low. Stay out there. From your hip hinge, your head follows and comes just between your arms. You're not locking your legs. You're just holding core muscles strong. Inhale back up. Exhale to the chest height. Inhale up. Exhale, folding from your hip hinges. You can soften your knees. Breathe. Inhale back up. Exhale, arms come by the chest. Inhale up. We're going to do it again. Exhale from your hip hinges. Move out there. Head draws between those arms. Inhale up. Exhale, arms by chest. Again. Inhale up. Exhale, one more time. Holding this one. Holding this one. Head between arms. Belly drawn in. Pelvic floor pulling in. Pulling in. Deep breath. Inhale. Come up. Exhale, arms down. Next move. When it comes sideways to show you, so you're just going to take your strap behind you. You're drawing in and up with your belly muscles, lifting up your rib cage. Your knuckles are going to come about shoulder width again, but right down in the middle of your glutes. Your sitting bones press down. So what I see a lot, you engage your upper arms, arms are straight. What I see a lot is pooching here or tucking under too much here and doing some big back bend. So I want you to be neutral. I want your shoulders back, sitting bones down. I want you to pull away. Now you might only be pulling away a few inches. You might be pulling away quite a bit. You might have quite a bit of arm rotation. Whatever that is, never push it to pain. Never force the movement. If you're feeling a little bit of a ooh, ooh, you need to back it off. Listen to your body, to your joints. Engage your muscles. Move through your ranges of motion naturally. Don't let it be a forced movement. Now, let's see if now that that's warmed up, you really should be feeling your tricep now. So it's not a big giant thrust and it's not quick. Let's hold it up there and let's just go little pulses. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. Okay, you can roll your shoulders if you want. Let's try some more of those. Tricep back, engage that upper back, pull the arms out to that position where you can handle it, your rotator cuff. And I want you to plug your shoulders like a Lego person. So your femur bone is plugged into your hip, all right? So your humerus bone is plugged into your shoulder. So you're not trying to thrust something out. You're plugging it in using all the attachments, ligaments, tendons, muscles to keep yourself in. And that cartilage, we want to keep it safe, all right? We don't want to grind it. So you're going to pull back again, and we're going to pump some more. Pump. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and bring it down. All right, bring it up. Lift up the right hand, straps in the right hand, cup the elbow. This Gomukhasana, cow face posture. This is a pose that I find difficult for a lot of people to do correctly if they lift a lot of weights and they don't do a lot of intuitive stretching to those same zones that they strengthen. Okay, let's reach around with our left arm back and find the bottom of the strap. So your knuckles are going to face, the edges of your knuckles face your back, and then you're going to wiggle your hand up. Now you might be way down here on the strap. You might be touching. You might be automatically have that rotation and your fingers are touching. But I want you to keep your spine long, head, eyes on the horizon, belly in, elbow up, elbow down. So your right arm up, left elbow down, and feeling that Gomukhasana. So I don't care if your fingers can wrap around each other 10 times or if you have 10 inches between your hands. but the form in your buttocks pressing down, navel in, shoulders, arms strong is so important. It will heal you. It will help you to feel those shoulders strengthen and those shoulders feel healthy. And then release. All right, now roll it around. Roll your head. All of this looking at a computer screen and trying to do all of our work remotely has caused so much stress and tightness in the necks that might have already had something starting to go on. So let's do left arm and left elbow. Reach for it. Lift the head up, sitting bones down. And you might find that one side feels tighter than the other, or we try to crumble on one side, or you feel that you're not neutral here in your hips. So set it up first. Set it up and get it super strong. Elbow up, long, deep breaths. Release and bring that arm back. And here's another thing with Gomukhasana as you're trying to wriggle that hand up. One side might be very different, and it's something to take note on. So on the side that feels tighter, that you just feel like you can't get your arm up there any closer, if they're really far, really far apart in distance, one arm a lot closer than the other. I want you to think about what you need to do to stabilize shoulders, maybe strengthen or stretch or both, to create a symmetry in your body, a balance in your body. I want you to lengthen here and breathe, and if something hurts, of course, come out of it. After all, you could drop that hand way down if you needed to, but I want you to think about how you can hold the pose with breath and it not be painful. One more breath here. It's just such an important pose. Gomukhasana. Let's release that arm down and go ahead and drop your straps. And face front. Come back to your Prasarita. Wiggle your feet out. Wiggle your feet out. Inhale up to sky. We're going to do some various Prasaritas here. Make your peace fingers here. Bend at your hip hinges here. Reach for your toes. If grabbing onto the big toe is too much, grab your ankles. You can hold here. You could hold up here. You could even be here if you want to. Don't push on your kneecaps. Don't lock your knees. You could have hands in the front if you need to, if broadening the shoulders is too much, but I want you to work on opening the chest. Then lengthen and maybe looking forward, and then exhale, lengthen your spine. If you're coming lower with the head, and your head might be dangling on the floor, or it could be much higher, I want you to bend your elbows as your head drops down. So a lot of times I see this, people moving their arms in all these other weird positions. This is Prasarita D. There's a purpose. I want you to broaden your collarbones. Open up across your chest and your shoulders. I want you to stabilize that, not crumple. Maybe looking forward. Exhale. Walk your fingers in. This is a version, cupcake finger version of Prasarita A, where the hands are narrow. Let's walk out to a down dog Prasarita A. So down dog, chest moving down. So sometimes we call this melting heart or puppy dog chest, where we're a puppy pressing our nose down and our chest down and wiggling our puppy tails. Breathing as you move into your melting heart or puppy. Deep breaths. And then looking forward. And let's take that right hand to the sky and come under and see if you can reach for that left leg, maybe at the calf, maybe at the ankle, maybe at the foot, and look underneath that left arm. So possibly here you're going, oh my goodness, I'm not going to reach that leg out. Maybe your hand's here. It's okay. Maybe you keep your hands up on a block. Maybe the twist at all is too much. I want you to listen to your body and approach these poses as a journey. You're working toward these poses as a journey. You're moving into them deeper as you are safe. And bring the hands out to down dog. Wiggle through your knees. You can move through your hips. Try not to lock your legs. I know a lot of times we're sitting a lot more right now. Move into puppy dog or melting heart. And when you're sitting, your thighs become atrophy and all that straight, and you start to hunch forward, and all of this follows suit, and we start to feel like, whoa, what's happening to our posture? Lift up that left arm, bring it underneath, and bring it over to that right leg. Now it could be at the ankle, again, like I said, it could be at the
foot at the toes, at the floor. It could be in the middle. Maybe you're not taking a steep twist. The other thing I didn't mention is that wrist. You don't want to dump into that hand. So you want this outstretched right arm to be light. You don't want to be forcing weight into that right arm. Take another deep breath here. And then exhale and come out to your down dog and walk your fingers back in. Turn your heels in and go side to side, bending knees, moving through it. And back to your Prasarita toes. Keep working on those ankles. And lengthen and see if you can reverse swan dive up without forcing it into your low back, using your thighs, your core, and take a namaste hand here. All right, so from here, another breath, deep breath up. All the way. Exhale, hands behind your back, Prasarita C. So we're gonna have knuckles down, folding into Prasarita C. And lengthening. Now, your knuckles might be on your back, they might be up, they might be rotated. If you have really, really open rotation and no problems with your shoulders, you can draw those knuckles over. Some of you can even get your knuckles to go over your head and toward the floor. I've seen it even touching the floor. But don't try to force the arms in any arbitrary position. And remember not to force the legs into a lock. One more breath here. Take your nose to your left knee. Little challenge. Center. Take your nose to your right knee. Center. Roll it up. Lift to sky. Come to your namaste hands. All right, let's crab walk feet in. So heel, heel, toe, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe. Until you come to your mountain feet. Jnana Mudra hands together, namaste. Inhale up to sky. Exhale, fold, full Uttanasana. So a lot of people use Uttanasana as an opening pose. Uttanasana is actually a very difficult pose. Chest moves to legs, spine lengthens. It's a lot of hamstring flexibility required here. So you could, if you're tighter, grab one of your tools. So maybe you're grabbing one of your blocks here. It could be on its side. It could be on its end. It could be here. You could be bending your knees slightly. You're working toward straight legs, not locked, and moving your chest closer and closer and closer, narrowing the gap between your upper body and your legs. Lengthening, crown of the head, light, so you don't want to feel any tension in the neck. You're not pushing into your hands. You're just light, so hands eventually back by the feet if that feels doable for you. Lengthening. Eyes look halfway, and in your eyes halfway, you could have your hands again on the block. You could have them on your shins. Don't force the knees back. Don't lock. Exhale, fold, reverse swan dive, lift. Nice. And namaste. And we're going to step sideways. Powerful pose. I'd like to show powerful pose from the side. It's a nice way to see that I can see my toes looking down, my heels down, my buttocks is moving back. I'm making this deep crease in the top of my thigh and in my hip where I am having that flexion there. And I'm moving my arms by my ears. I'm pressing back. I'm using my belly's tucking in, quads lengthening. I can feel them strong and lengthening back. Hips firm, so you want to firm in the side of your hips. You're engaging back of your buttocks. Exhale, forward fold. So that becomes a rest, yeah? And then eyes halfway up. Exhale, head down. Walk the hands up. And then I want you to take your, I'm going to walk a little bit forward here. So I have space. And I'm going to take my right foot back into a lunge. So this is a low lunge. My fingers are down. Having your right hand down, lift your left hand up into a low lunge twist. You could have your right hand on a block. Arm down behind the back. Looking up. Inhale all the way up. Exhaling over. And we're going to take this back knee and we're going to bring it behind you. Sit down into Lord of the Fish. And bring that leg over the top. Inhale to sky.
Exhale, twist, facing your left shoulder. Big breaths as you twist. You could do a Trikyana mudra here. You could have the elbow bent. You could have fingers on the floor if your twist is deep enough there. Come back to sky. Exhale, and we're going to bring our hands down and try to come forward. So coming forward, slide your legs back again and sit back into your child's pose, pressing back. Inhale up, downward dog. And from downward dog, let's just step that right foot forward and you'll be in that low lunge again. And you want to try to make that back leg really long and lift up so I'm vertical from my bottom arm. You could put that hand on the block. Deep, long breaths. And as you do this, you're feeling like strength. So my bottom hand is really light. So I'm not pushing into the bottom hand. I'm working all those muscles. I'm lengthening back here in the quad. Taking long, deep breaths here. And then bringing that knee down. And bringing it over into Lord of the Fish on this side. And lifting up. And bringing our left arm over. Looking around into the twist. Looking back to that back shoulder. Broadening across your shoulders. Looking back. Keeping the breath. One more breath. Coming back to center, and let's do this again. Let's press forward. If this is too much for you, unhook the legs first. Coming back into your tabletops. Sit back into your child's pose. Inhale up. Let's take your right leg out to the side. Cross it over. Walk your hands over to the right. So your right leg's crossed behind. Your arms are moving out to the right. Coming back up. Bringing it in. Let's do the other side. Out with the left. Cross it over. Be really safe with this. Move your hands out. Maybe going a little deeper, 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 deeper. Squeezing your inner thighs together as you're doing that crossover. And then coming back in. Bring your hands down. Rock back and forth. Good. All right, and now take your right leg back again and bring down your left arm. So you have left arm down, right leg extended back. Now this is going to make you feel like, I want you to be square here. It's going to make you feel like you want to tip over to your left shoulder. I want you to cupcake on that right, but then see if you can lift up that arm. And you might feel like you want to tip over. I want you to use your core muscles here. Use them. Breathe. And then maybe balancing here and lifting that foot. Oop, there we go. Let's lift the foot first and then the arm. Pressing through your big toe. Opening up. Engaging through your leg, your quad, your hip. And then bring elbow to knee. And out. Elbow to knee. And out. Elbow to knee. And out. One more. Elbow to knee. And out. Okay, now coming back to your tabletop position. Sit back to a child's pose. And now let's rock it. Sit back into child's pose. And then coming up and drawing your left foot back, right arm down. So just even doing this, just even doing these core things here is a lot, because
having the bent side is gonna make you feel like, oh my gosh, I wanna just go over, I wanna tip over. And so lifting, squeezing, maybe lifting up with that top arm and holding that. It's okay if you smack the ground and it doesn't work out for you. All right, now reach that arm over and see if you can bring elbow, knee, and out. 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 Let's do one more. Elbow, knee, and out, and down, and child's pose. And now coming up again and finding your block. If you don't have a block, and I want you to lay on your left side facing me and be in your forearm position, rib cage lifted up. Find your block, put your block in between your thighs, squeeze your legs, lift your legs slightly off the floor. Now if they won't come off the floor, that's okay. Just squeeze your block and keep working on your side of your hip, engaging your inner thighs, side of your waist. Lift up your arm. Maybe not, maybe keeping arm down. Maybe arm is helping balance. It's okay if you get wiggly. Can you bring your toes back so you're in one long line? So this is easier. Feet forward, hips back. See if you can bring hips neutral, in line with shoulders, arm up, breathe. Squeeze that block like you're gonna break it. Bend your knees, squeeze in, lift back up, squeeze the block like you were going to break it. Bend your knees, squeeze in, squeeze that block like you were gonna break it. Bend your knees, in, squeeze that block. We're gonna do one more, and in, and hold, and down. Excellent. Bring that block out for a moment, cross your foot over, bring your knee down for a nice twist, lift up your core again. This is still working under here. Lift up, reach up over the edge of your ear, reach out past, big breath. Can you bend your back leg and reach that foot up towards your butt? So your underneath leg, your left leg, is squeezing up and you're binding it. And then stack. Come up, switch sides, keep your block. Put your block between your thighs and squeeze it tight. Okay, so a couple things to think about here too. You want to lift here in your rib cage. So if this becomes too much, you could go here. It's a lot gentler position. Anytime you're on your forearm, it foreshortens this distance, so it's going to be harder to lift that rib. But I want you to work your serratus and your obliques on that side. I want you to lift the legs, squeeze the block like mad, and lift it. And that's, you could always lay the legs back down. Breathe, breathe. Trying to straighten it out, keep it neutral. Trying to lift up with that rib cage. Okay, bend, knee, elbow, squeeze, breathe, bend, knee, elbow, in, squeeze, breathe. Nice little couch position, huh? Squeeze, breathe, bring it in. And then extend to make it really straight, really long, really long. Lift up the ribs, lift up the ribs. Let's do it again. Squeeze in. And out. Let's do a few more. Yes, you can. If you need to rest, rest. Bring it in. Squeeze. And out. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Lift the ribs. One more. Squeeze. In. Come on, you can do it. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. And hold it, float it. Hold it, keep it level. Lift up that arm. Breathe. And release. And take that block out. Bring the foot over. And you're going to let it go into a twist. You're going to still lift up rib cage, lift up rib cage. And then possibly bottom leg, reaching it back, finding that foot, and maybe not, and maybe laying down on this rib cage and arm, and putting the head down, or putting the head on a block. Breathe. Try to pull that heel back. You don't have to bind it. It could just be knees bent. Okay, let's stack them.
Stack them up, come up and sit. Now open your legs into our Upavishta style, open wide leg sitting position. And as you come in this wide leg sitting position, I want you to think about if you can V-sit out but still stay stable head over hips. So some of the things people do is they'll have their legs way out but they're leaning all the way forward or they're leaning all the way back. And if you find that this just feels impossible to sit here, you could take a kneeling pad or a couple of them if you have, and you need a little bit more space. You could even take a block and sit up on that if you're feeling a lot of hamstring pull, or grounded on your sitting bones, but you want to be evenly grounded right and left. Inhale up, exhale out, and we're just going to come wherever you can forward. This position is really difficult for many if you're tighter in your hamstrings and your low back. So you could, if it's a strain on the neck or head, to come forward. You could put that block underneath the head. Sometimes it's very, and let's say you go, oh my gosh, my head won't even go if it's to there. Stack and stack. And I want you to hold this. So wherever you are in the position, I want you to try to lengthen and hold it without any tension in the neck or the shoulders. You could be holding the big toes if you want. You could put two straps, a strap around each foot. If you have longer legs and an average size length torso, you are going to have a harder time getting to your toes than the little short stature person. So it's okay. There's lots of forgiveness here. Use your straps, or just come to up a little higher on your leg. It's all good. But we do need to hold this for a little bit. So let's take another breath here. In our Upavishta Konasana, forward fold, coming back up. Okay, now inhale up and twist. So this is going to be a forward fold, but we're going to twist our sternum over our thigh. So we're going to pull our breastbone over our femur bone. And we're going to lengthen out, so we're not dumping. We're going to lengthen out and we're going to fold. Now this is a really good time to use a strap, almost for anybody. Even if you know you can wrap your hands around your foot easily, and you're like, because it's going to create length along the spine, leading with the chest instead of the head. So really lengthen here as you're looking past your big toe and creating so much space right here. Maybe as we're here, we're thinking, inhale again, and exhale, moving rib cage closer to the leg, not the nose. And then rolling it up, wiggling out your toes, moving around a little bit. Sometimes we get little cramps when we're doing this, especially if you're tighter in the psoas, in the low back, in the hamstring attachments. And we're going to lengthen and come onto this side. So we're going to lengthen right here on the right and come down. Now you might find one side is a little easier for you. And if you do find that from side to side here in the seated position, you may have one hip just slightly higher than the other. It's something to think about in your gait, in your walk, in your knees, the actual health of your knees and your low back. So we're trying to keep it neutral and think about both buttocks sitting down in the mat. So your sitting bones are grounded. You're not letting your left foot hike up in order to get to some arbitrary place on the right. And so we're lengthening here, crown past toes. So you're trying to think of this whole long string pulling you along and past the toes, creating a lot of breath and length in each one of your vertebrae, and thinking about, I'm not forcing it. And it isn't about a place. It isn't, oh, I grabbed my toe. It isn't, oh, I got my head down. It's about the whole process of lengthening spine and hamstring. One more breath, and then coming back up. All right, and then from here, let's take your right foot and scoot it in. And so this is a variation on your Janu Sirsasana. So for a lot of people, if you have knee issues, this tight bend here where you're trying to pull your heel into the ground might be too much. You may want to put a kneeling pad or even, you could even go as much as taking that block and supporting underneath, or might be just a little gentler if you've had any kind of knee issues or having knee issues. Okay, so we're going to actually do a over that bent knee. We're actually going to put our hands side on each side. So we're framing that knee, pushing down through our left sitting bone and walking the hands out first here. And then walking them back, that was our prep, and then taking a huge twist here, still prep. And then reaching your hand, your right hand behind you. If you're on a wood floor, make sure your knee is gonna be on your mat or on a pad, because you could stick that pad underneath it if we're going to kneel up on it. And we're going to sweep up, lift up, reach up. This feels so good to so many. Keep your left leg strong, that long extended leg. Watch for any discomfort in the bottom knee, and don't dump all your weight into your right support arm. You want to lift up with your core. Sweep down and bring both legs forward. So your Paschimot, inhaling up, your forward fold, lengthen spine. Again, you can use that strap, so you put that strap over those feet and lengthen here. A lot of times when people think when they're using a tool that it somehow makes them less than, it somehow makes them not as, quote, good of a yogi or their poses. That's so antithetical to what yoga is about. It's about creating that sense of floating in your body, and by whatever means you're using your tools to do it, is achieving symmetry in the body. Strength, balance, range of motion. And then release again and open your legs. And we're going to do the other side. So we're going to scoop that left foot in to that variation on Janu Sirsasana. So in Janu, you want that heel of that to come up toward the groin, but it might be like, ooh, that's too tight on the knee. So you're going to put the foot farther down that way. Inhale up, and we're going to frame. We're doing a variation. So we're going to frame the left knee, walk out and lengthen here while we're keeping the right buttocks down. Continue to lengthen. You're flexing and making active your right leg. And so you're just drawing that navel. And again, you can support underneath your knee and try to keep breathing and lengthening over this left knee as our prep. And then coming back, inhale up, and we're going to take that little twist, another prep, working it around. So when you take spinal twist, so we're twisting over this left shoulder, you're trying to broaden here across the collarbones, not collapse, and you're not dumping into the hand, you're lifting up to revolve. So you lengthen to revolve, and you use your side waist and your core muscles. One more breath. Coming back to center. Nice. And again, making sure that that knee is either up on your mat or you have a pad, and you're not dumping too much into that left hand. And let's just lift, come up, maybe arching back, keep that right leg active, keep that arm reaching, maybe up past your ear. Don't dump weight into your bottom left wrist. You can come down before I do. Long deep breaths and looking up into the hand. And exhale and come down. And this time we're going to come into a little cobbler, bringing the soles of your feet together, pulling them up towards your groin, maybe butterflying them a little bit, coming down into your cobbler, head comes down toward those legs, towards that groin, towards the feet. Big breaths here, knees are opening, groin stretch, hip and groin stretch. Continue to lengthen. Maybe pressing just a little bit on those knees to open them. If there's pain, support them, come out, modify as necessary. Maybe your heels can come all the way up into your groin, or maybe you are tighter. Generally, general rule, if this is really easy for you and you can bring your hips all the way, or your feet all the way up to your groin, then your hips are really open to the outside, and maybe hamstrings or split type poses might be more difficult for you. If this is tighter, which this is in my case, and it's just almost impossible to get my heels always up into my groin and still open my knees and have a nice open back and spine, then I am looser in the splits type movements. And that's just something to think about in how our bodies are. Always still working on the positions in our bodies that are the tighter, the stiffer positions. Coming back up, and let's walk the feet in and go long on our mat. And this time, let's put that block sideways between our thighs, or knees or thighs, but not on the kneecaps, in the thighs. And bring the body down because we're going to do a bridge. Bridge is one of the most therapeutic poses. I love bridges and they're good for all levels. So squeezing that block, and not to squeeze the block to clench the buttocks. See, this is, a lot of times people say, oh, don't do those squeezes because it will cause people to clench. Tell them not to clench. So you are engaging your buttocks, tucking in your belly. It's a core work here, core work. I don't want your quads to overwork. I want you to squeeze the thighs to remind your inner thighs to squeeze. Lift up, outer thighs are firming in too. Pubic bone is lifting, chest is lifting, maybe tucking those shoulders under, trying to keep the chest level, hip bones level, maybe clasping hands underneath. So that's not essential. The leg position, the core position, the hips, the pelvic floor, lifting is essential. Feet grounded, don't be wiggling around with your feet coming off the mat. So press them down into the mat and don't look side to side. Neck is not pressing into the mat, it's free. So the back of your neck is not smushing. Hips are lifting, pubic bone lifting. Take deep breaths. Anytime you want to come down, come down. Let's take another breath here and exhale it down. So when people are first learning bridges, sometimes they feel like, oh my goodness, and they want to come out immediately. That's okay. And if you're cramping up or they're going like this and their legs are cramping, that's okay too. Get back to your position and keep working on these daily. They're a beautiful daily exercise. Tip your pubic bone, tip your pelvis, lift and roll, come all the way up, come to where you can. And we're going to do some little squeezes here. So tuck under, under, under with the back edge of your butt, as if you're taking and you're velcroing the back edge of your glute toward the top of your thigh back there. You're squeezing and releasing, squeezing and releasing, and squeezing that inner thigh to the block. So you're keeping that nice neutral position, taking deep breaths. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, belly's in, roll it down. Take your blocks out, hug your knees into your chest, rock side to side. Lift your right foot to the sky, left leg extends out. Bring your head up, bringing your head toward your right knee, trying to take the space that's between the clearance between your chest and your leg and make it smaller. Reach for your foot, take a half happy baby, open up your left arm, maybe looking past, right now, past your right shoulder for a moment and pulling that leg down. And then roll that head over and look past to your left hand. And then head center. And then take that knee and spinal twist it over. Look around to your back, right arm. Come back to center, hug the knee, tuck it up. Release, stretch like a morning stretch. Bring the left knee up, tuck it in, lift it up again. Head toward that knee. So you're trying to take and lessen that space, that gap between, and just work on moving. Tucking belly in, lifting chest up, leg in, and then go ahead and grab that foot or put a strap over that foot and half happy baby.
Look towards your bent leg first on the left, just for a moment. Arm is laying down, collarbones broaden. And then slowly turn and look towards your thumb on the right. Bring your head center, reach for your knee, twist it over, and now we're going to look toward your back arm in that spinal twist. And then come center, hug both knees in, rock them side to side, extend out. Give it a big morning stretch here. Long breaths, belly in, extend as far as you can. So from your belly button to your fingertips, lengthen, 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 wriggle, wriggle around. And from your belly button to your toes, wriggle around, wriggle around. Deep breaths. And now just relax. And come into your Shavasana. Deepen your breath here. Your positions could be hands coming towards your belly, arms at your side. You could put blocks under your knees if you're dealing with any low back issues. You could decide to be on your side, so you could do a fetal pose during your whole Shavasana. Another thing that you might want to do, and some people like to do this, is make a starfish with their legs, or maybe a cobbler leg as they're in their Shavasana. Arms can be in various positions. Find something very comfortable for you. And we're going to go through the, eyes are closed, the chakras. So we're going to work on just the 7 main, there are hundreds of chakras, but the 7 main chakras. I find it comforting and also exhilarating as I'm releasing into my Shavasana to work on the chakras. So eyes are closed. We're going to start at your pelvic floor, the root chakra. And as we work on root chakra, think of it as colors. Let's think of it as deep earthen clay red. And as we think of that clay, we think of your foundation, your roots, the roots of your practice, the pelvic floor. Relax your legs, your knees, your feet, your buttocks, and think of your roots as being strong and grounded. And keep deepening the breath, Ujjayi, and imagine that red earthen color being foundational and being so strong, rooted, grounded. From that Muladhara groundedness, coming up into your Sahasrara, into that pelvic floor sacral bowl area. So from there to your sacral bowl, into your sacral chakra. Usually it's pictured in iconology as an orange, as a deep orange color, and think of it as being energetic and creative. And find your breath and relax your hip bones and behind your low back. And think of your creativity as being spontaneous and free-flowing and not blocked. And think of that sacral bowl all the way around from the front to the sides to the back, and releasing any tension around that zone, that bowl. And then moving up to the belly button, the solar plexus chakra, and thinking of that as being like radiating like the rings of Saturn. Think about it as circling from away from your belly button and out, wider and wider circles of bright yellow, bright golden glow yellow. And think of it almost like, as my granddaughter says, the pixie dust, the sparkle dust, moving out and away so that your core becomes stronger, and yet your core is relaxed. You have the duality, you own it, of your practice. Relax your belly, relax your digestion system, relax around the back of your waist, and think of those rings and the bright yellow colors in that
solar plexus chakra, the belly button and the waist area. Moving up into the heart in the area of the rib cage. The heart chakra pictured as bright green, and I like to think of the green as being green like new blades of grass, new flowers in the spring, green of excitement and growth and life-giving. Our hearts so strong. Right now, tap into the heart and just think of feeling and sensing that soft beating of your heart as you feel the heart and the pulse within. And just tap into that and see the bright green, life-giving, blood coursing, powerful, powerful heart. And think of the heart as also being nurturing, pulsing and coursing with blood through your whole system, cleansing. As we move from the heart and the heart chakra, we move up just to that tiny little area of the top of the collarbones, right in the hollow of the throat, pictured as crystalline blue, like a blue crystal ocean at the edge of an island. And think of that blue, the throat chakra, as being maybe a small zone, but very powerful. Your glandular systems, your endocrine systems, and think of balancing all of those as we think about being in tune with our endocrine system in our body, with the glands in our body, with all of the systems that create all of the rhythm in our body with our endocrine system, and being balanced in that. And release your shoulders and down your arms and down your spine and your neck. And then moving into the next chakra zone, the brow, just over the eyebrows, middle of the forehead, the third eye, the brow chakra. As you think of deeply vision of that brow chakra, think of it as a deep purple. A deep purple. A bluish purple. A deep blue jeans purple. And as you think of that, think of your sense of intuition and relax your face, your mouth, your jaw, your ears. Think of how that intuitive sense that we have to each other, to our neighbors, to our family, to our loved ones, and into our practice. Believe in yourself. Believe in the power of positivity. Release the negativity. Release the distractions now. And think of the power of blue and violet. And then move up to the crown of your head and the Sahasrara, the crown chakra. Now, the crown chakra doesn't really touch a body part as much as it unites all of the chakras moving up into the crown. And think of it as deep black with tiny little stars in the night sky, like that, all the tiny little neurons firing. And think of the black night and the tiny stars as being infinite, as the power of your being infinite, not just the presence of your physical presence, but your mind and your spirit infinite. And release every tension in your body and breathe deeply. In and out, in and out. And connect all of your chakras together. Now as we prepare to come out of our long Shavasana with the chakra system, we wiggle our toes and our fingers. We bend our knees a little bit and we slowly work to your sideline position, not doing it in a hurried way or having to
quickly come out of it. And then from here, moving up from your sideline position, and you can do this in your own little style, but coming up from your fetal position on your side, onto your bottom into Sukhasana, hands to heart center. As we bow gently over our fingertips, as you close your eyes, as you feel your practice deeply, as you believe in your practice, the healing nature of your practice, for your mind, for your body, as we practice daily, as we practice our breath, and we practice that positivity and that strength and the power of uniting each other, the power of uniting two or three in a belief, in a positive movement, without anger, without distraction, but creativity is unbelievable, is infinite. As we close, believing in that power of positivity and in the practice, we say together, Namaste, and move to the sky and exhale it out. Thank you for yinning with me today.